Understanding FMCSA Personal Conveyance Rules. Welcome to this whiteboard explainer. Look, if you're a driver, dispatcher, or safety manager, you already know the basics of hours of service. But personal conveyance? That's where things get murky. Today, we're cutting through the noise and giving you a highly practical framework to know exactly when a move is legal and when it definitely isn't.
Let's jump right into a scenario you've probably faced, the late-night dilemma. Picture this. A driver finishes unloading at a receiver late in the day. Their 14-hour clock is completely maxed out, they have 0 driving time left, but the receiver says, "You gotta go. No overnight parking allowed."
So, what happens? Out of options, the driver selects PC on their ELD and heads down the highway to find a truck stop. But here is the million-dollar question. Was that legally personal conveyance, or did our driver just create a false log that's going to trigger an out-of-service order? Well, the answer depends entirely on why that truck moved, where it went, and who actually benefited from the trip.
To solve this, we've got to lock down the exact definition. Personal conveyance is strictly the off-duty movement of a commercial motor vehicle for personal use. Notice I emphasized off-duty. You have to be completely relieved from all work and all responsibility for performing work by the motor carrier. If you're still under dispatch or still responsible for that equipment, you are not off-duty, which means you cannot use PC.
Now here's a massive disconnect we see all the time between the technology in the cab and the actual regulations. Tapping that PC button on your ELD, that just records your claim. It's really just a special driving category that logs as off-duty. But hitting a button does not magically make the movement legal. You can tap it all you want, but if the context of the drive doesn't fit the strict FMCSA rules, you're falsifying a log.
So how do you know for sure? You don't need to be a lawyer to figure this out. Just run your situation through this simple 3-question test. 1. Have you been completely relieved from work and responsibility? 2. Is the move for a genuine personal purpose? And 3. Does this movement reposition you, the truck, the trailer, or the load for the carrier's next business purpose? Following the logic laid out by the FMCSA, the golden rule is this. The second a trip benefits the motor carrier, it is no longer personal conveyance. If moving that truck improves your operational position, advances a load, moves equipment for a business reason, or even just staging you closer to tomorrow's pickup, that is on-duty driving. Period.
Section 1. Real-world scenarios. Let's step out of the rule book and look at some clear examples of what flies and what fails.
Here's a super common, totally legal example. Let's say you're traveling from your en route lodging, like a motel, to grab a bite to eat at a nearby restaurant. That's fine. That is genuine personal use. But let's flip it. Say you bypass an available rest stop just so you can park closer to tomorrow morning's pickup. That is strictly prohibited. Why? Because you're advancing the carrier's operational readiness. You're making progress on the route, so it's a business move.
Let's try another one. Commuting home after being completely released from work? Absolutely fine. That is your personal time. But what if you just dropped off a delivery and you're heading back to the carrier's terminal? That's illegal under PC. Even if your trailer is completely empty, returning to the terminal is just the continuation of your dispatch trip. The carrier is benefiting.
There are a couple of other big traps to watch out for here. Bobtailing or pulling an empty trailer just to go grab another load? Not PC. How about moving the truck to a repair shop? Also not PC. Maintenance is a fundamental business activity. Getting the brakes adjusted is never a personal errand, folks.
Section 2. Busting common PC myths. There is so much bad advice floating around out there, so let's set the record straight on a few things.
Myth number 1. The truck has to be empty to use PC. Look, that used to be the guidance way back in the 90s. But today, load status alone does not make the decision for you. You can actually use PC while fully loaded, as long as the movement itself isn't providing a commercial benefit. It's the nature of the trip that matters, not whether there's freight in the back.
Myth number 2, and this one trips up a lot of folks. PC pauses my 14-hour clock. Okay, listen closely. Personal conveyance is not some magical fifth duty status. It's just a subcategory of off-duty time. That 14-hour clock is still ticking down in the background. Using PC absolutely does not pause or extend your 14-hour on-duty window.
Which leads us directly to myth number 3. I can use PC anytime I run out of hours. Honestly, this right here is the #1 way drivers catch false log violations. Just because you ran out of hours does not automatically grant you a free pass to hit the PC button to finish a trip or get home. PC is not an emergency tool to stretch your driving day.
Section 3. Resolving the late-night dilemma. Let's loop back to that stranded driver from the beginning.
Remember our driver kicked out of the receiver with no hours? The FMCSA actually has a very specific exception for this exact situation. You are allowed to travel from a shipper or receiver to the first, nearby, reasonable, safe place to get your required rest. But here is the critical rule you have to memorize. The rule allows you to get somewhere safe. It does not allow you to keep making progress. You cannot bypass an available truck stop just because you'd rather sleep 50 miles closer to tomorrow's drop-off. You find the very first safe haven, you park, and you rest.
So before you ever reach for that ELD and tap PC, ask yourself this one controlling question. Is this move genuinely personal, or is it secretly advancing the operational needs of the carrier? Next time you're staring at 0 hours and feeling the pressure to keep rolling, take a second. Ask yourself who is really benefiting from this drive, you or the company? Make the right choice, keep those logs clean, and stay safe out there.